Hello everybody. With hindsight of the recently released EF2000 DELTA mod, I have decided to produce a new frequently asked questions video, as the old one from April 2025 is no longer up to date. The old FAQ's content remains valid, but it only covers the early questions that emerged shortly after the release of EF2000 Retro. A lot has changed since then and new frequently asked questions have emerged. This video is supposed to hopefully answer all of them. Some references to existing videos will be made where appropriate. So let's get started. Question: what is the EF2000 mod series all about? Answer: the EF2000 mod series is a series of aircraft-centric mods for the Falcon BMS PC-based combat flight simulator by Benchmark Simulations. Question: what is the content of these mods and what do they deliver compared to the stock BMS installation? Answer: as the mod titles imply, the EF2000 mods are aircraft-centric mods, centered around the EF2000 aircraft. The primary objective of these mods is to enhance the implementation of the EF2000 aircraft in the BMS environment, to make it more enjoyable for the player to fly the EF2000. Question: so are these mods aircraft mods? Answer: yes they are, but if you aren't familiar with BMS, you may have a different perception of an aircraft mod. The EF2000 mods are no aircraft mods in the sense of adding a new aircraft, they are mods enhancing the implementation of an existing aircraft. In BMS something like aircraft mods, or add-on aircraft do not exist, as in BMS aircraft are integrated into an existing database. Question: in which way is the EF2000 aircraft enhanced through these mods? Answer: the mods replace the default external aircraft model and textures with modified versions, introduce a custom EF2000 cockpit, an advanced flight model, instead of the simpler original flight model, weapon bug fixes and updates, data improvements for increased accuracy, avionics adaptations tailored to best match the EF2000 aircraft's capabilities and some custom cockpit audio and voice warnings. Question: how realistic is the implementation of the EF2000 aircraft? Is it high or full fidelity? Answer: BMS does not allow for high fidelity aircraft, unless you are a member of the BMS team and have access to the source code, which is a prerequisite to code custom systems. All other aircraft rely on the high-fidelity systems modeling of the F-16. There is a lot of room for customizations though. For more details refer to the original EF2000 Retro FAQ video. Question: what EF2000 aircraft mods do exist and why are there so many? Answer: at the moment 3 EF2000 mods exist. 1. EF2000 Retro for Falcon BMS 4.37.8. 2. EF2000 BTO for Falcon BMS 4.38.0. 3. EF2000 DELTA for Falcon BMS 4.38.1.1. All three mods are compatible with different BMS versions and have a different scale and scope of their content. That's the reason why there are different mods. Question: what's the difference in the content between these mods? Answer: the EF2000 Retro mod released on April 19, 2025 for Falcon BMS 4.37 was conceived as a memorial project, commemorating Digital Image Design's EF2000 PC-based combat flight simulator from 1995. EF2000 Retro is essentially an anniversary release, celebrating the 30th anniversary of the first release of DIT's EF2000. The add-on was the first of its kind and was designed to recreate the experience of the original EF2000 as closely as possible within the BMS environment. This EF2000 mod is the most comprehensive one for that reason, including custom user interface artwork and background music, tailored games modes, allowing the player to fly the EF2000 in all game modes, custom squadron and wing patches, custom or customized campaigns, dedicated training missions and more. EF2000 Retro is compatible with BMS 4.37 only, as its theater map is incompatible and not transferable to BMS 4.38. For this reason, the the EF2000 BTO mod has been created to offer a solution that is compatible with 4.38. EF2000 BTO is baselined on the Balkans Theater of Operations version 1.08.0 for BMS 4.38, hence its BTO label in the mod title. It was not the intention to replicate the complete scope of EF2000 Retro though, and EF2000 BTO therefore includes fewer features, especially less custom UI artwork, no dedicated EF2000 training missions and only one slightly altered campaign scenario. EF2000 BTO was first released on August 30, 2025. Unfortunately, Update 1 for the Balkans Theater has broken the EF2000 BTO mod, and while an update was attempted to comply with the latest standard, it eventually failed. For this reason and the lack of time, development of EF2000 BTO was suspended on November 20, 2025. EF2000 Delta, released on January 18, 2026, is the latest member of this mod series and replaces EF2000 BTO as a BMS 4.38 based solution. Unlike EF2000 BTO, EF2000 Delta is baselined on the Korea Theater of Operations, or KTO, which is the default theater shipped with Falcon BMS. EF2000 Delta has been further decoded, focusing only on the aircraft and weapon modifications. Question: does it mean EF2000 BTO is dead? Answer: I would phrase it as, it's currently on hold. The option to revive this version exists, but it's not currently planned. Question: is EF2000 BTO still usable? Answer: for the time being, EF2000 BTO remains compatible with the latest patch standard of BMS 4.38. However, in order to use EF2000 BTO, it is required that you stay at the original version 1.08.0 of the Balkans Theater. With hotfix 3 being applied, it might be difficult to find this old version though, as the Balkans Theater development team has replaced the links for this old version with that of the version 1.08.1, or Update 1 standard of BTO. Question: can I use EF2000 BTO and the latest Balkans Theater concurrently? Answer: yes, you can by first installing v1.08.0 and make a copy of it, then edit one install's name and update the directory paths in its theater definition file. Refer to the Part 2, Theater Creation of the BMS Modding tutorial series on the channel for further details. You then need to apply Update 1 on one version and hotfix 3 on the copy, or vice versa, if you wish. It's important that the TDF file from EF2000 BTO is linking to the version 1.08.0 with hotfix 3 and not to the version 1.08.1. Question: why has EF2000 Delta been descoped? Answer: BMS 4.38 is still somewhat immature and the risk that something gets broke with future updates is higher for that reason. The lesser the content of a mod, the lower the risk and the easier it is to update and comply with new standards. Question: is an extension of the scope of EF2000 Delta planned in the future? Answer: I consider this as an option, but a firm decision hasn't been made and depends on various different variables. Question: why has EF2000 Delta been based on KTO and not another theater? Answer: there are several reasons for this. 1. KTO is typically the most refined and stable theater. 2. While you can substitute missing models in an add-on theater with KTO models, a theater-dependent mod based on another add-on theater with some custom models requires these models to be adopted for your own theater mod. Either that, or you place your own additional models into the base theater folder, for example BTO. The later approach was actually adopted for the EF2000 BTO mod. EF2000 Delta in comparison features its own 3D models directory and sources all other models from the stock KTO. 3. KTO is the default theater included in BMS, as such EF2000 Delta requires no add-on theaters to be installed, unlike EF2000 BTO. Question: how do the EF2000 mods work and do they negatively impact my BMS installation? Answer: the different EF2000 mods are conceived as add-on theaters. That means that the EF2000 mods are managed like other add-on theaters in BMS. During installation, an add-on EF2000 mod folder is created under the Falcon BMS/data subdirectory. All files related to the respective EF2000 mods are located there. This ensures that no other program files are overwritten or modified in any form. For the EF2000 BTO and DELTA mod, some files go into different directories as well, but these files are additional and won't harm your stock BMS installation, or any other add-on theaters you may have installed. Question: how are the EF2000 mods installed? Answer: the mods are delivered in a zip file format and need to be extracted to the directory specified in the installation instructions, which are included in the release notes for each mod and even every update for a mod. The EF2000 DELTA special release notes video on this channel illustrates the installation of this mod, and that's generally applicable to the other mods as well, albeit for EF2000 BTO the target directory is the data subdirectory, not the main installation directory. Question: where can the EF2000 mods be downloaded? Answer: download links are included in the release notes, either in the video description, in the news and releases section on the EF2000 Retro Discord server, and in the opening posts of the dedicated EF2000 Retro, BTO, and DELTA threads in the official BMS forums. Question: can these mods be played in multiplayer mode? Answer: yes, if all players have the same mod installed you can fly EF2000 Retro, BTO, or DELTA with your friends. Question: the 3D cockpit looks a bit dated and is somewhat limited in its functionality, will a new one be delivered at some point? Answer: yes, that's at least the plan. Specific details can't be provided at this point though. Question: is there a chance for custom EF2000 avionics? Answer: theoretically yes, practically questionable, and in any case, not anytime soon. Question: why is the work on the EF2000 aircraft not included in BMS by default? Answer: as a third-party modder, I'm not involved in the decision-making of the BMS team. I have offered my work in the past, some of it was adopted, a lot has been added and changed since then, and for a long time my work on the EF2000 aircraft was included in the add-on theaters of the other Fighters Mafia third-party modding group. OFM releases have fallen away for the time being, and this is also one of the reasons why I maintain separate EF2000 mods, for my own enjoyment and the community. My work remains on offer for inclusion by the BMS team, or any add-on theater developer, who would like to use it. What I will not do though, is to beg, or chase for the inclusion of my work. Question: are there any future plans that you can talk about? Answer: there is some work and potential work in the background, that I will talk about when the time is due. At the moment there are no further updates for either mod specifically scheduled. There will at least be another update for EF2000 Retro. For EF2000 DELTA the next update is being considered once Update 2 for BMS 4.38 is out. EF2000 BTO remains on hold for the time being. I hope I have satisfactorily covered all relevant questions with this video. Best regards. Scorpion 82.